Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live post-game show after the Thunder at Warriors Game 2. As everyone was saying, it was a must-win game for the Warriors. Obviously, they could not afford to fall down 2-0 going into OKC. So a really important game for them, and they certainly came out and took control of it, sort of like they did in the first game. Because remember, in Game 1, like we did a breakdown earlier today, they had control for about 3/4 of the game, and then right toward the end of the third quarter, they started to lose a little bit of it, and then they couldn't get it back after that run, that finish in the beginning of the fourth. But I got to tell you, this one was a lot different, without question. A totally different kind of game, and the key here, I think, is to look at the matchups because it's a really fascinating chess match. What's happening here and who they're going to have guard who. So Steph starts out on Russ in the first and third quarters. But Russell Westbrook actually on switches was able to get to the basket with impunity in that first half. And whether or not he made the basket was a little bit up in the air, but he did have 2 or 3 really nice finishes at the rim and was causing some problems. And then certainly KD went off and had a really long stretch there where he was doing really well. But the Thunder just couldn't quite close that gap. And eventually in that third quarter, I don't know, I got the sense that, I know what it was. The Thunder's defense was getting away with a little murder there for a lot of the time in the first and second quarters. I find some plays where the Warriors didn't hit the shot, but man, were they open, and the defense was out of position for a lot of that. And to me, that just indicates that eventually that's going to wear you down. They're going to hit those shots. You can't get away with it too many times. And the Thunder were playing with fire all during that first half. So that was what was going on there. And let's see here. And we got weird matchups too. With all the switching going on, particularly when the Thunder are big, there's just no way to make it work for them because they're going to have Cantor or Adams on a small who's going to be able to take them. We saw Cantor get roasted again, and almost like he insulted somebody in the Warriors because as soon as he's out there, they're going right at him, getting a switch, getting someone to attack him in an ISO, which is a little bit uncharacteristic for the Warriors offense, but they're scoring on him. And so there's going to have to be some sort of boundary here where Cantor is going to need to get the 10, 12 points. He's going to need to get 3 or 4 offensive rebounds to mitigate that. And if he's not on pace for that, then he's not going to help you at all. You're going to have a hard time winning those games. So we'll have to see what his playing time is going to look like going forward because, the Thunder escaped with the Game 1 win. They didn't quite steal it, but they kind of escaped with it. And this one, there wasn't close. I mean, once that started going downhill, forget about it. So all the momentum is back with the Warriors, and the Thunder are going to have to regroup. But you know what? They are very tough, and they were able to stave that off for a long time. The run that the Warriors finally hit them with, and part of the deal, I think, with the Thunder is that they might be better bad shot makers. And so when it was getting, starting to get out of hand a little bit, the Thunder would still hit, some really tough shots. And I think, Russ hit a 3, and then certainly KD hit a couple shots. And so that's what they're really good at, and that keeps them hanging around a little bit, but certainly not tonight. Well, don't forget, remember, I'll answer your questions live if you use the hashtag BBallShow on Twitter. So why don't we go over there right now and do a little screen share and check out what questions we have. I know we have a few all ready to go. So let's share this with everybody and head over to our Twitter questions. Maybe one more bigger for you guys so we can read it. So Moses asks, can OKC keep switching bigs and getting wrecked off the dribble? Also, can they keep trapping Curry? Well, yeah, they can certainly trap Curry when it's Ezeli setting the screen. We saw a couple of times where it just didn't work out real well for them when Ezeli set the screen. So, yeah, here's the thing. So I think it's a problem they can't keep switching like that. And I think a lot of the switching I saw was needless. Russ's points and let someone switch instead of trying to fight a little bit around those screens. So I would hope that Donovan gets in there and kind of gets him to start switching less, start fighting over some of those screens more, and that'll help him a lot. And as far as the Curry, they're going to have to get better on the Curry stuff. I think that Curry got open on the on off-ball screens, and so that's hard. You can't really trap him there. And it looked like there was a bit of a focus. I got to go count, but it seemed like the Warriors wanted to get Steph Curry more off ball tonight. And certainly when he got going, forget about it. That was crazy tough. Let's see here. Pat asks, do you think Clay is the best off the ball player in the league? He's got to be. I mean, Steph could very well be the best, and then Clay's number 2. But they're 1A, 1B. Clay moves so well, it never stops moving, and he's sprinting, and he sets his man up on V cuts and cuts back door. So Clay is the guy that, yeah, you would definitely study if you wanted to learn off the ball movement. It's fantastic stuff. Tristan asks, how many games do you see this going to? Also, LeBron seems to be on a mission. Chances of winning it all. Okay, so this is probably going to go 7 games. I mean, there's obviously a motivation for the NBA to want this to go 7 games, and so you never know when that happens how this plays out. But I have to imagine that we have not seen the end of the Thunder. They're gonna come back. They are very good. And I said this on Twitter. I don't think I remember a time when we have 3 teams playing this well in the conference finals. This is going to be an exciting conference finals, at least from the West, and then the finals. We're going to have some really great games. So I would imagine it goes to 7. And then as far as LeBron, yeah, LeBron does have a whole different energy about him on defense particularly. So his chances are very high to win it. There's no question they're going to have a great shot at when they get to the finals. Pat asks, should Donovan move away from playing Cantor so many minutes? I feel like he leaks way more points than he helps score. Well, like we said, yeah. If he's helping, then he plays. If he's not, then he can't. And it's hard to know that a little bit, but certainly there's going to be some benchmarks. He needs to get more offensive rebounds, and that's what I wanted to check actually on the old the box score. We'll get to that in a little bit, but certainly he needs to get 3-4 offensive rebounds. He needs to get 10-12 points minimum to balance that out. Alex says, what did I just watch? Well, you watched a beatdown starting in the mid-third quarter. We're going to go through some footage. Coach D, heard some people saying OKC picked the wrong year to contend, but could OKC hang with any champions of the past 5 seasons? I mean, hey, they're hanging now, so it's not like they're not hanging. They're not right there. I just, everyone knows that, the issues I've displayed with Russ and I've shown, and what I hope you would think is very thoughtful and meaningful evidence of what's happening with Russ. Always felt like that would hold them back. And, it's better this year and they're there, but, he still does some problematic things that guys like maybe CP3 don't make or Steph don't make, like the poor decisions he does. And so that is a kind of a thing that could still sort of hold them back. I don't think, defensively there were some problems. There were some problems tonight, but it was pretty much a team effort for the Thunder tonight. We got 2 more questions coming in. Vlad asks, with the way things are in both conferences, which teams do you think will qualify and at what series score? So I'm going to pick the Warriors because if it's going to go 7 games, it's hard to pick against the home team anyway. So I'm going to go with the Warriors either way. It's like 6 or 7. I'll take 7. And I think this could be a sweep in the Eastern Conference. Maybe they go 5 games. And so the Cavaliers are going to be really well rested. And then if the Warriors-Cavs rematch, I don't know. I still feel like the Warriors can win it, but, man, it should be an awesome series. It probably goes like 7. And, again, you get the home team Warriors. Nail asks, what is a goal for the Heat this offseason to really compete for a championship next season? Well, I guess Chris Bosh is going to be off the table. It sounds like he's probably not going to play again. So they got to sign Whiteside. I think he's worthy of keeping, and it sounds like they want to keep him. If Richardson keeps developing, they have a very viable player there. Same with Justice Winslow. They got to hope that Wade can continue what he's doing. So I think Whiteside's a priority, and I suppose they're probably going to maybe let Stoudemire go. I don't know what his contract situation is, but I imagine they're going to want to upgrade, in the front court without question. So that's what they're going to look at, and then I think they're in pretty good shape. But the Bosh thing kind of just kills them. I think with Bosh they could have competed for a title or pretty close. So let's get back to our another part of our show, which is some video highlights. What do you say? I got some really good ones for the from the first half, which are queued up here. Let me grab them real quick. Let me resize my windows. Forgive me. Let's see here. Aha, open this up. Come on now. Did it open? Live TV, fellow. Oh, there it is. Okay, it kind of took a second. I think my computer is struggling here. Let's quit out of that. So let's screen share a little video here for you. Okay, so here we have our first clip in the first quarter, which is 10:36 in the first. Let's check out what's going on here. This is Clay getting open. So I mentioned this earlier as far as them running good sets to get shooters open, that they miss some shots, but you knew this is sort of a setup for like when the shots start raining down. So here you're going to watch basic motion, okay, so here's a little handoff to Clay, and then they swing it. This is all sort of basic flow motion that they use. And so then we watch Clay come around. Now, this is good. Russell Westbrook's doing a nice job to chase Clay around and take away the shot. But watch what happens here afterwards. Once they get Russ on the weak side, and this is something the Spurs almost never did, now this is where they're going to find him. He relaxes. He stands straight up. He just starts staring at the ball, and Clay never stops moving. Now, he still sees sort of man and ball. It's not bad, but he gets caught underneath the screen. He wants to switch there, and that was the problem. So they don't communicate well. They had two guys going to Steph, and there's a pin down here. So that's a shot. I don't really know why he didn't pull that. And then he gets a shot inside the lane that misses. But this was, just portents this thing to come. And, by the way, he gets another, decent look in the corner for a three and misses. I think those were the only two misses he had in the first quarter. And those are the shots that kind of get him warmed up when they're open like that. So now we look at in transition when they push it, not even full speed, they get cross-match problems. Now, at this point, the way this is shaping up, Adams has to pick up Draymond Green here and actually kind of jumps out to watch Klay Thompson. And then he's just not going to be able to get out there in time, and Draymond Green gets off for the shot. So this is sort of the problem when you push it. I'm sure Adams wanted to be on Bogut, but had no choice because Ibaka wasn't in position. And Draymond, got off a little early with hitting some shots. And then right after this, we had Russell Westbrook getting into the lane. He got in the lane a whole lot in the first quarter. And so I don't think that Steph has to jump out at him this high. I know you don't want to get him going downhill early, but it kind of gave Russ just a little bit of space here to get going full speed. I'll play this for the real speed. And you'll see that there's also some really bad confusion down here. Let's see what's going on. So this is like a high horns or play or something with a wedge here. But it's instead of with Adams and Ibaka, they flip it. This is Donovan being very clever. They run it with KD and Robertson. So guess what? Draymond and Bogut are not in position. They're like confused. And so in fact, Clay. Oh, this is interesting. Clay should have been on Robertson, but because they had cross matched and put Clay on Ibaka, and then they had they had I forgot. They had Draymond on Robertson, and this really just confused them. You can see they just weren't ready for it. No one's in position. Draymond should have been there way early, but they get the layup. Nice play. Okay, and then a little bit later in the first, we have I just want to show you how the gravity of Curry. They're so concerned with Curry here on this early screen by Ezeli that watch. It sucks both these players in, and so you have Ezeli rolling to the basket. Let's watch this in real time. Ezeli rolls to the basket, boom, and they get it to him. Now, this is not a great finish because he sort of pivots and actually turns the wrong way, but gets it to go in. And Ibaka, I don't know what happened to Ibaka. People ask me, but this is a good example. This is a block shot for Ibaka in the past. He just doesn't even go for it. I don't think he was in foul trouble at this point. Really concerning to me. I don't know what his problem is, but he's just not the same player he used to be. It's weird. And into the second quarter, we have an out-of-bounds play. And, the Warriors run a lot of really clever stuff on their out-of-bounds plays. They stack here. A lot of times what you'd see is Adams, who's on Iguodala, so you can see the cross-matching here. Adams would kind of wander down here. He wasn't paying attention. They'd snap a pass right to Iguodala for the three. But Adams is in a good position. That's not going to happen. So they run a simple curl, and I just don't understand. This is supposed to be Cantor stepping up, not up, but out and over to bump him at the very least and stop him. He shouldn't really worry about a long pass to Spades. He could close out on that, but he needs to be in this position here where he can take away that pass and help waiters get there in time. No one's there. Great finish by Barbosa, and they get the layup off the out-of-bounds play. These are the kind of points you can't give up. This was giving just enough space for Golden State to keep ahead of them, even though the Thunder were really trying to stay close. Okay. Later on, let's see what they run here. They do a KD ball screen on top to get the switch like they want. And so now instead of Iguodala guarding him, it's Livingston. And now KD just sort of kills the offense here. And look, terrible spacing over here with Waiters doesn't know where to go. Cantor is spotting up, and it's just a mess here. This is the mess. either way, they get a good defense riding him out of the lane. But watch this, a really great finish over Spates. Now, Spates is the guy who's not going to cause as much of a trouble as a guy like Bogut or Ezeli, and he gets that tough lefty layup over him. That was impressive. A little bit later, we go to one of my favorites. This is the weave. They go real old school with the weave across the top, and they're going to catch a switch here. So there's okay. So Curry hands off to Draymond, and they switch it. Okay, oh, that's not bad. Although if you look at this for a second, if Curry had sort of stopped quickly, boom, that's a wide open shot because Curry goes behind him. Excuse me. Okay, so now we do another weave, and they switch again. So Russ has now switched twice. And that means Ibaka's on Draymond. That's okay. And then here they come up. So now instead of Klay Thompson receiving the pitch, he's going to cut back door, allowing Curry to come up. Now Curry cuts back door. So they get two backdoor cuts, leaving Iguodala to kind of handle the ball by himself. Then another switch. Now you got Adams on Iguodala, and you have Russ on Ibaka. On Ezeli. Get a little handsy down here with the Draymond pin down. So remember, this is part of the rules they have on their offense. When Klay cuts back door, he comes up back around on the weak side to try and set a pin down for him. And there's Draymond, and then bam, nice little hop. Oh, they don't. Oh, okay. So he misses the shot, but because remember, Ezeli was being guarded by Russ, not much they can do about that. He's out. He can't. He should fight a little bit harder than that. Russ can't let him just sort of keep him out of the way and dunk it. But not much you can do on that. Great offense right there. Give them the 4-point lead. Now, let's move on to our next clip, which is, here we go. 145, great lob. So this is the play they usually run for Robertson out of the weak side corner. So they'll do a quick, Robertson will usually be here. They'll do a screen with Adams, and then Russ will jump up in the air and throw this lob, and it goes instead to KD. The lob actually wasn't really in a great position. I'm really surprised that Ezeli didn't catch this ball or knock it away or something. It was a little low, a little bit too far. You know, wait, actually, it looked like, Ezeli, well, no, I don't know if Ezeli knocked that ball. It looks like there might have been a little bit of a deflection, which is even better hands by KD. But great play there to get to call this. And they run this like once a game. And it's good to know it works with KD too. All righty. And then we moved on to the end of the second quarter with a, hashtag basketball. Draymond Green, they're going to run a screen and roll. Okay, so this is a nice little play. It's like D'Antoni offense. A step-up screen here. They roll Iguodala out of the way, but instead of trying to force it to Iguodala, they're going to hit the ball on top. It's almost like a high-low action. But look at that bounce pass. That's gorgeous. Let's watch that in real time because that's great stuff here. Steph hit goes high. There's the low. Bam. Dunk. Just beautiful. Demoralizing also, but beautiful basketball. So absolutely fantastic stuff. So, that was only a matter of time until we saw the Warriors start to wear them out, get more of that action that they were allowing them to make the pass across the perimeter and then quick shot passes into the post or into the paint. It's just a matter of time with the Warriors if you're allowing them to do that. So, terrific stuff here. Don't forget, if you ask questions with the hashtag BBallShow on Twitter, I will answer them live with a nice shout out for you. So why don't we go back to there and see what we have, and then we'll go to some stats. Let's look at here, present it to everyone, and get back to here. So, we got 9 more questions. So let's scroll down here and find out where we left off. Daniel asks, other than more off-ball looks, what made the difference in Curry's shooting tonight? Westbrook bad defense, more switches. I think all of the above, but I think it was the off-ball stuff. I'll have to go back and look a little bit more carefully. But Curry got that huge knot on his elbow after diving into the stands, and like that was so he looked off for a little bit. But then once he kind of got back into the swing of things, man, he was just vicious out there. And it was just he just had that mindset. You can see it. He was moving quickly. He was making quick decisions, and they were looking for him and setting as many screens as they could. Alex Hansen asks, what went wrong for the Thunder on defense tonight, or was it just the Warriors being the Warriors? Well, I think it's a mixture of both, but, there was some really problematic communication issues that they weren't when they were switching, like we showed in one of those clips. Russ got caught in a couple of just terrible positions that couldn't see the ball, couldn't see the man, and that's you have to be on point without question for the whole game. You can't let him get on that roll. Otherwise, it just starts going downhill for them. Chichi asks, what do you think KD and Russ needed to better in order to get going and score the ball? Like I thought Russ was doing a nice job getting the rim in the first half, but it's a good question. I got to look more at the offense. I was sort of studying a lot of the Warriors stuff and then what they were doing on defense that was helping. But as far as the offense goes in the Thunder, I mean, I did feel like they were running some of the same sets too often, and the Warriors were able to key in. Like one of them was that pin down the right side for KD with Adams. And if you get caught doing that too often, I just feel like the defense gets used to it. They can take it away easier. There was also some horrible turnovers for both teams, but certainly the Thunder were guilty of it. And when you turn the ball over on the road like that, that's a recipe for disaster. Hassan Muhammad asks, do you think Steph's elbow going to affect him next game? It's very possible. That thing could tighten up. They might have to drain it. It could get swollen. Who knows what, but that could be a problem for sure. You hate to see that on a shooter's elbow. Is it better for Russ to shoot too many shots or too few bad shots? I always feel like Kevin Durant should shoot the most shots regardless. And certainly there are shots that Russ takes. Nothing really stood out to me. There's 1 3 that he made that was like, okay. And that led to another bad 3 he never should have taken. That was a wild air ball miss. So there's always some shots you could chisel off of Russ's shot selection. Nicholas Nacho asks, do you think Warriors will offer Barnes the max contract? Great question. He really hasn't played as well as I'm sure anybody had hoped he would this year. And it's really, strange. I don't know what happened. He was progressing so nicely. So I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's 50-50 that they offer it to him, honestly. Anthony asks, what adjustment do the Thunder make to bounce back in Game 3? Well, they have to get better on their defense. I think they need to stop switching as much. And I think that will really help them. I think that will give them the more energy because they have to be more on point. They have to be, faster and quicker to get through gaps, to not switch as much. And that will help. The live ball turnovers really hurt them. If they limit that, then all of a sudden their defense looks better. Let's see here. Vinsanity asks, can Steven Adams and his Canada lineup beat the Warriors' deadly small ball lineup? Not unless they're hammering them on the boards. Like we said, Adams is doing terrific work. He really has just really come alive in this series, and he deserves a lot of kudos. But if Canner can't get those offensive rebounds and score down low often, then they're just lighting him up. It's like 4th of July. PG asks, was the refereeing fair tonight, or do you think the Warriors got away with being overly physical? You know what? It's funny because if you watch what they do with Steph, they're pretty physical on him and Clay as well when they're cutting through. So, again, there's a lot of that screening stuff. But, I think the Thunder were setting some of those same screens. Adams sets the same screens as Bogut does. So, I think it was kind of even. Nothing really stuck out. That crazy Iguodala shot might not really have been a foul. But nothing too much struck out at me tonight. Okay, wow, 7 more questions. Let's see here. Anshul Birla asks, how do you think the rest of the series will go? Like I think I said earlier, they're gonna. I bet you this goes 7 games and then the Warriors win at home. Romo 350. Why do you hate the Thunder so much? I enjoy your breakdowns, but you don't hate on them though. I don't think I hate the Thunder. I think people think that when I point out Westbrook's issues, that it's hating on him, and I try and be fair and balanced. I'll show the good stuff as well, but I don't know. I think part of my issue, and so I really think it's more about that because I love KD. I think he's terrific. I love Adams. I think he's terrific. I also like what Donovan is doing, and then their offense is better. So I think that people just want to tune into more of like the things I show about Russ. And I guess I kind of do that as a reaction because I get so much of this. He's the best point guard in the NBA. He should be the MVP, or he's top 2, 3 point guard. And I just don't see it. And I feel like, I guess I'll get on my high horse sometimes and just sort of point it out. It certainly is a lot quieter these days with people wanting to defend Russ because they've started to see, especially the season at the end of games in the regular season, we had seen some cracks in that armor. Romo 350 again asks, what does the Warriors do differently on Russ to pretty much shut him down? Well, I don't think they really shut him down that much, but, certainly in that first half they weren't. But, I think that they go under screens, they give him some room, they'll allow him to take that, the mid-range shot, and he'll get greedy sometimes and try and get too deep and get out of control, and that's more on Russ than them. Broku asks, how concerned should the Thunder be that Steph hasn't been Steph for a whole game since his injury? I don't know about that. I thought Steph was Steph for a while there. I mean, geez, how much more Steph can Steph be? So I think that they should be concerned either way. Gabriel Sturtevant asks, what's more important to Thunder success, Westbrook shooting or Westbrook passing? That's interesting. Maybe I'll go with passing. You know, if he gets one of those 12 assist games, I don't, you know, who knows? He might even have that tonight. I don't think he did, but if he does, then you know, they're going to be tough to beat. Then Romo, I already answered that. And then who wins game 3? That's a great question. Well, I don't know. I might have to go with the Warriors. They have all the momentum now, even though they're going on the road. So that's a great question to ask. I don't know. That's going to be you know who wins game 3? We all do. Okay, that's going to be a great game without question. That's going to be tooth or nail. You know, much like a game 5, that's a really key. They're all key games, but this one's going to be a key one to try and figure out who's got the real momentum. I always used to say whoever wins 2 games in a row first wins the series. And it held up for a while. It was a pretty significant margin by that. We've seen some teams win 2 in a row first and then lose a little bit more recently. But, again, if the Warriors get that second game in a row, you got to say that they're going to win the series. I got some more video clips for you. Let me fire those up real quick and share the screen there. Let's close this guy and turn the volume down. All right, let's go through our last round, and then we'll go through the last round of questions, and we will continue our awesome post-game show. Okay, in the third, let me get my list up here. In the third, okay, here's high horns. So everyone's running this now for their point guard or whoever. They do it for Draymond sometimes, where they'll set a wedge up top above the three-point line. And now Steph, so what this does is forces a switch because Russell Westbrook will never get out of that gauntlet. And now we have Steven Adams on Steph Curry. Bogut runs hard to the rim. Now, this is a problem. You know, Russ is going to have to read this better and probably just stick with him. He really can't run away while this guy is cutting that close to the hoop, and this is so far open. Now, Ibaka needs to rotate over, but he can't really move over too much until that pass happens because of the defensive 3-second rule. However, because he does have 3 seconds, he could be in there a second earlier than this. And he gets there, and he just can't. You know, he's just too late. It takes too long. This used to be a block for Ibaka, and instead it's a nice dunk for Bogut. Let me show you this in real time. So here we go. Behave. Okay, so there's the wedge. There's the roll. Russ comes over. Can't take that beautiful pass, by the way, by Steph over, and that's it. Now we go to the third a little bit later, 9-10. All right, so okay, now we have another Warriors play where we always talk about helping one pass away. Here's another reason why they shouldn't do it, and it is because you'll see, okay, same play. This is going to be the high horns play. You have Harrison Barnes spotting up in the corner. So now Bogut rolls, same deal, but instead they go to the flare here, the second screener. And again, look how much room they ultimately have with Draymond. And by the way, Bogut rolling kind of takes out Kevin Durant. You know, we can kind of call that a foul, but then again, he's kind of pushing Durant into the space where he needs to be. And this is the problem. You have Adams coming hard. You have Durant in perfect position. There's no need for Ibaka to have a foot in the lane. That's terrible, especially off the short corner. And then we get a nice, does he dip on the shot? He catches it low, so it's pretty much a dip on the catch. And boom, it's a wide open shot for Harrison Barnes. Now, it looks like it's a pretty good contest, but that's a wide open shot. He's shooting it with no hand up, nobody in front of him, and a good look, bam. And that starts to get them separation. It gives them a 14-point lead. And then we skip over. I'm going to show you a whole sequence of plays here because this is sort of where the game ended as we get to 7:15 in the – okay. So now the Thunder were able to come back. They cut it to 7. Robertson was helping them a little bit on the offensive end. And so now we're going to see some exciting plays. Unfortunately, if you're a Thunder fan, it might be a little bit of a horror show. But they set double pin down for Harrison Barnes. He doesn't get it. He curls. That's a rule they have in their offense. Now they set another screen. Someone was saying on Twitter this was a McKillop at Davidson action, which I love. The first guy set the screen, Curry, is now going to get his own pin down. And by the way, let's see how many switches we get here. So Ibaka was originally on Barnes, and they get a switch. So now Ibaka is on Curry, and then Russ is on Barnes. Now, they kind of want to switch again. Look, Ibaka is calling for a switch, but this is kind of silly because it's Adams. Adams shouldn't be switching. He should just chase him around, but he doesn't do that. And so Curry gets open. Now, Ibaka gets stuck on the high side. You cannot go on that side against Curry. Adams doesn't want to get up there anyway, and Curry gets – does he turn? No, he just makes it. He turns on one of these threes before he even makes it just to face the bench and just nails the shot. By the way, this is Steve Kerr is doing a cool thing here, which is what Phil Jackson used to do is I think the home team gets to choose, unless it's Donovan, I don't remember who, but both teams have the defense in front of them in the second half. That used to not really be the case. Most teams wanted the offense in front of their bench in the second half, but if it was Kerr, it's a Phil Jackson thing that he must have gotten from him. And so you'll see that the Warriors get to have their defense in front of their bench in the second half. All right, now we'll go to, the 10-point lead now. They're reeling. What happens here? What did the Thunder run? So they're going to do that same pin down for Durant on the right side. It's a little strange here because Adams is kind of looks like he wants to set the screen, but Kevin Durant's not quite in the right spot. So here comes Robertson instead of down screen. But again, blowing up pretty easily. The angle was way off on this. So now Russ is going to get a wasted play. So there's something going on here. They're not on the same page because you can see Robertson's trying to set him the screen, and then they kind of wanders down the corner. Robertson just backs up. So this was key. I wanted to point this out. With Draymond guarding Robertson, watch what Draymond now can do. He can blow up his whole offense. He can stand right above the free throw line for as long as he wants. KT has nowhere to go. Now watch, this is great. Klay Thompson moves up too because Ibaka comes up. There's just no room. He can't go anywhere without a shell drill here. And then boom, he tries to throw it to Robertson, but that's a lot of length. Even Steph Curry has long arms, and he gets his hands on that. Great defensive play there. And here they come in transition. Live ball turnover and no foul on Durant, which is interesting because there seemed to be enough contact to merit that. But Harrison Barnes stays with it, brings the ball out slowly. Now, this is interesting to me because as Steph Curry gets up, they have KD on him, and he's just, he's way behind, and he fouls him. And this is a pretty good call. Let's look frame by frame. He just whacks him right on the arm without question. And to make matters worse, he gets a tee from the ref. He makes a swipe, thing, probably said some bad words, and gets teed. So he basically gives him a 4-point play, three free throws, I believe, unless it was a 2-pointer I didn't see, and then the technical foul free throw for Steph. Just a really bad loss of composure on the road here by Kevin Durant. And all started by when he doesn't, stay with the man and close out quicker on Curry. So Curry gets, let's see, all these free throws. Let's skip through here. Looks like it was only a 2 then. No, it was a 3. So now it's a 14-point lead. Let's see what they call here. They had a break in the action to call a play. So this is a double pin downs. Ibaka is sending a pin down for Waiters, and then Adams. Well, actually, he slips the screen just about, but that's okay. Gets him open, and boom. This is the play they run. They've run for years. That's a nice look. Iguodala can't get around that screen fast enough, and KD hits it to, save off a run a little bit here. But now they come down. This is great. I love where Adams is because his man is trailing. This is great. Now, although he stays with him a beat too long, and that at that point he's now giving Bogut a role, and Bogut can handle this role pretty well. Nice cover up though. Very nice recovery by the Thunder to sort of close out there and stop that shot. But now let's see what Russ does. Okay, this got me really upset watching this. Russ is off of him so much. This is not bad. He's actually moving the direction of the ball. And as the screen comes, because we all know when they hit the low post, they want to split instead of screen for Curry. He's got 20 feet to come around and get in there. And instead, he calls for a switch. I kind of want to call that lazy. I don't know what that is. It's just bad defensive philosophy. Look at all that room he had to close out. He doesn't. And Steph Curry gets, Ibaka all over the place. Oh, that was the one he turned, right? Let's see. And Curry just looks right at the bench before the ball even goes in. That's just not good by Russ. And so now what we have, again, is a 15-point lead, and the game's about to be over here. Now let's see what they do. The same play again, pinned down the right side. And this is easy because they've gotten the same rhythm. And look where Adams sets the screen. Bogut can afford to come over because guess what? He knows that Draymond will be able to cover that up if he's there. Now, the other thing is by blitzing this, and they hadn't been blitzing this before, it catches KD by surprise, and then a beautiful strip So Bogut almost knows that, like, if I can get there and strip that ball, it won't matter that I left Adams wide open there. But again, it doesn't matter anyway because he knows that Draymond is on and he knows that Steph is going to move in the direction. Look, Steph was already moving in the direction of the ball here. This is the best team defense you're going to see, and they work on it every day. Kudos to Ron Adams. And so here comes a fast break, another live ball turnover, and Steph knows what to do with it. 2-pointer, but still. This game's over. That forces a timeout. The crowd is rolling. And then, you know, at the end, they were already up by 19 here. It's one to point out a nice little backdoor pass. Watch Russell Westbrook on the weak side. So people want to defend Russ for being a good defender, but he's not. Russell Westbrook is simply not a good defender. Certainly off the ball, he's not good at all. And at this point, he has no idea where the ball is. You need to be able to see man and ball. He should be off of him a little bit more to give space if they set a screen. He should be down here. And instead, he's like too close to him. His back is completed the play. He's now on the wrong side of Steph Curry. And that's an easy read for Steph. There's a little push off there, but only because he was so out of position to begin with. And there you have it, a layup. And that's just, you know, more demoralization of the Thunder and their defense. So those are the plays I grabbed for the second half because the fourth quarter was pretty much just a non-starter there. They never made a run. And we had Kyle Singler action coming in there. So anyway, that was basically in a nutshell. It's a pretty good breakdown. I think some good plays that kind of capture what we were talking about and what the issues were. So let's see here. Should we go to one last round of questions as we wrap up our live post-game show? Another great one with a ton of people here. Great. We got 12 questions. Let's run through these. Let's see here. What made Curry go off? Well, you saw some of that defense by Russ. That really helps. Vlad Sebastian asks, do you think Bogut should get more than 16 minutes or should they stick to Iguodala? I think what they're doing now is fine. They had a nice rhythm there. Bogut, it's tough for him. He was not doing well. I think he might be injured or something because he seems a little bit out of sorts, but he was better today than he was in game one. So I think that 16 to 20-minute range is fine with him. It doesn't look like they're going to get those short rolls where he's making good passes in this series for whatever reason. So, you know, that's why he would probably get more minutes if they were getting more of that. Young Hefe asks, what do you think the Warriors should work on next game? You know, they can just continue to work on ball movement on offense like they were doing, and moving without the ball is terrific stuff. Their defense was fantastic tonight. I don't think they can work or certainly just continue to refine what they were doing. Josh Gunther asks, what do you think changed for Golden State that allowed them to take over this game? You know, I think it was offense. I think they fed off of that. I think they fed off the home crowd, and they fed off of, you know, better ball movement and taking care of the ball better. And then they won't do, you know, they weren't turning the ball over like they were in the beginning of this game and then in game one. Anthony wants, no problem, Anthony. You know, no problemo, senor. Sorry, from Spain. Javier Antonio asks, OKC hasn't dominated the rebounds that much in either game, and Kanter's defense has been exposed. Should OKC sit Kanter for good? No, I think they owe it to him to try and find those moments where he can do the work on offensive rebounds and score down low. But they might have to yank him and give him the hook a lot quicker if it's not happening. Do the Thunder need to win a game 3? I think so. I think if the Thunder lose game 3, it's over. Again, part of the reason for that 2 games in a row thing. Will Chen asks, if the Thunder lose in 7, do you think Durant will stay? I think if they can get it to 7 and it's a close series, he stays. I think if they lose in 6, he probably stays. But if they get swept out here, he might leave. That's the only way. They got to lose in a really – it's got to be so clear to him that it's just not happening in OKC for him to lose, for him to leave. And that means the Thunder would have to lose in, in 5. That would be the only way, I think. Is OKC's offense too pick and roll based? I mean, kind of, but I also think it's just too rode in like the pin down for KD. Like they get stuck in the same things over and over again, whatever the action is. And that's part of the issue. They also don't get like side to side action enough. I don't see KD running from one side to the other to come around to pin down. That would be really devastating for them. Shane D. Jackson asks, does OKC need to consider adding another small forward in the offseason to allow Durant to move to the 4? I think Durant will always complain and not play the 4 no matter what. And I don't even know if it works for them anyway. So I don't think that's it. They need to get Robertson out of there or improve his shooting. Mike Ton, hump day is almost over. Great show. You're darn right it is. Thanks. Mike also asked, what made Curry go off? Well, we talked about that a lot. I think we saw the defensive issues. And then, he just gets energy going. It's weird. The ball moves. Everybody moves. Steph feeds off of that. I think some of the, the live ball turnovers really get you going. Once you let a shooter like that get a little bit of a rhythm going, a layup here or an open shot, he might even miss that one. But once you get it to him, we saw like with Clay, it can be over in a hurry. It's pretty frightening. So the one thing we didn't go over, I don't think, is our stats. So let's go quickly through that, because that's always one of my favorite parts of the show when we go quarter by quarter through the box score. So let's do that really quickly. I'll call a screen share up and we'll get this going. I think the one problem is it's a little bit small for us people on mobile devices, but let's share it anyway and see how we do. So remember, if you're on statsonNBA.com, you can go to scores and look at with the gearbox here, you can change to whatever you like for what period you want to look at. So overall, let's just go quickly through this. Durant had 29 points. I mean, that's hyper efficient. He went off in that one stretch and was hitting everything. So 29 points, 6 rebounds, 8 turnovers, though. That's going to kill you every time. I'm curious. Russell Westbrook only had 14 shots, so that was interesting too. Now, it kind of got, by the end, they all had a little lower minutes, so that's going to skew things. But negative 27 for Russ, team high. That's rough. And that's indicative, right? Nobody else. I mean, we had negative 25 for Steven Adams. And, everyone else is sort of lower than that, although, Dion got negative 22. So that's a blowout. They shot 45%, which is not terrible. 30% from 3 is, not great. But the turnover is 15 is going to kill them, and they all came like early. On the flip side, we had, let's see here, 28 by Steph Curry, and look at that, 9 for 15. The team shot 51%, and they shot a ridiculous 46 from 3. So that was mostly Clay, Steph. Let's see here, Clay, 2 for 8, didn't shoot that well from 3. So it's mostly Steph, and then they got smattering of threes, Spates, and later on in the game, Draymond, Harrison Barnes hit 1. And then other than that, just kind of nice balanced scoring across. Clay had 15, Andre had 14, Draymond had 10, 8 and 7, terrific stuff here. And then they cut their turnovers down to 12. That was good stuff. So we'll go through real quickly. I'll select the first period and we'll show you what happened, where and how. So remember, after the first period, it was 27-20. So the Warriors already had control over this game, but Durant, 2 for 5, not very efficient, but got to the line for 7 points. But 4 turnovers already and 6 total for the team is really a problem thing. Meanwhile, on the other side, we had 11 points. Curry just had, detonated to begin with. And I know Kanter came in, I believe, right? Kanter came in and played 5 minutes, and that was a problem. They attacked him right away. But you still got Klay Thompson had 8 points. Draymond had 6. So they were cooking right from the start. In the second period, let's see here. A different story, 30-29. So the Thunder were able to score more, but they couldn't stop the Warriors again. So, look at that. Durant just 7 for 8. I mean, that was silly, just like Russ went in the third quarter of game 1. And 2 rebounds, just no turnover, or 1 turnover here, so not bad. And just dominating, and, no one else really getting the chance to get in there. But on the other side, you can see a very well-balanced attack here. 9 from Andre Iguodala. And then, a lot of smattering. 5 points by Festus, who looked much better this game, finally, luckily. He actually had some moments where he still looked lost, but he overall did very nicely for the game, deserves a game ball. In the third period is when the wheels started to fall off. As you can see here, 31-19, they ended the game effectively. And, nobody was scoring well at all. Durant really only got 2 shots. It's really fascinating. And Russ only 1. So that's an interesting thing to look at, why they only got, hardly any shots. I suspect the turnovers were 5. That's pretty high. And that's a real interesting thing that they were able to limit. And meanwhile, here, Steph detonates again for 17. And that's the name of the game there. When he's going like that and you're getting not a lot from this production on this side, you're going to lose that game. So that is a microcosm of what happened in Game 2. A pretty exciting game. The Thunder actually were tough. They were able to hit some shots at some point in that second quarter to keep pace and let the Warriors know they're still around. But man, this was a tough one. They're going to have to sleep it off, let it go, get back to the film room. They'll have a couple days off to go through it now, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see. But again, Game 3 is now crucial. Game 2 is crucial for the Warriors. Game 3 is crucial for the Thunder. So don't forget, I had a couple of videos I released today. One was the Game 1 breakdown, a little bit late, forgive me, but it was a hectic week. And I did a Fenerbahce and Ceska breakdown for the EuroLeague final. So don't miss that. It's really cool to see the Euros play. And we'll have a breakdown ASAP of the Game 2 of, sorry, my mind is going crazy, LeBron of the Cavs versus the Raptors. I had that kind of set up, ready to go. I'm going to knock that out really first thing in the morning. So stay tuned for that. And lots more coming up. I have another really cool one about the triangle offense coming up probably tomorrow if I get everything done. Lots of stuff coming up. More live shows. We'll try and get live shows for the next couple games. I'm not sure about Saturday, but we'll see. And don't forget, sports fans, at BBallBreakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in?